Meet us, Lord. Give us yourself. Let us spend some time sitting at your feet. We thank you, Lord. Amen. So I imagine you're all exhausted this morning. You've been up late Friday night looking for the aurora borealis, and you were up super early Thursday morning, right? You're up super early Thursday morning going doll trapping. Ascension Day, Thursday, Ascension Day, in many countries in Europe is a big holiday. It's a big deal. And there's an old tradition in Holland of getting up on Ascension Day at 5:30 in the morning and going out and walking, singing, dancing barefoot on the spring, new, fresh green grass. They call it dew kicking, dew trapping, dow trapping. And I want to say, yeah, like they got it, right? It's that feeling. It needs poetry. You can't describe it. It's one of those je ne sais quoi things. There's that freshness, that softness, that tenderness. It just makes you want to jump like a little lamb or something. And they get it. They get it. Ascension Day. Ascension Day is 40 days after Easter. What's the day that's 40 days before Easter? Ash Wednesday. So God, in his ever chiastic brilliance, swings a hinge around the cross from the death day, the only day in the church's year other than Good Friday when we only wear black and we talk about death without talking about hope. Normally we talk about, we grieve, but not without hope. On Ash Wednesday, it's heavy, right? It's the day of the litany of penitence. But if you swing on the hinge of the cross, then Ascension Day, 40 days after that, which was Thursday, which we're celebrating today, Ascension Day is the day that Jesus, resurrected and alive, ascends up into heaven. Now, I find that not only do we not give this day the kind of attention that some countries in Europe, in Holland, it's still a holiday. Many countries in Europe, it's still a holiday. Not only do we not do that, but we kind of don't get it, right? We kind of feel like it's just weird. Like, why are you doing that? What does it mean? It's an integral part of the whole thing. It's an integral, necessary, good, beautiful part of the whole thing of the incarnation. It's a completion. So just give me a minute. Let's pull back to the biggest picture lens. God creates. It's his idea. He does it for joy. He does it ex nihilo, out of nothing. He does it for love. He does it for a relationship. God creates. One high angel, pure spirit being, not material in any way, thinks that this is disgusting, that you would make stuff. I mean, stuff gets wet, it's dirty, it's icky. And especially to make a human being created in God's own image and yet in a body, embodied, and full of his spirit, but in a body. And so this high angel thinks this is disgusting. So this becomes then the Satan. And the Satan is simply a word. It's a name word that means accuser. So it's a cynic. He's the ultimate cynic about the whole creation thing in the first place. The fact that God would even try to do this and have an idea to do this and interrupt pure spirit world, he just hates this. He hates the very idea of it. Jesus says he comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. He doesn't have a story. He's mad that there's a story. So the mystery behind it all, in some way, is a contest. We see this is the crazy, mysterious first chapter of Job, where God and the Satan are arguing about, essentially, whether creating in the first place was a good idea. And won't it all go sour? Won't it all go bad? Wasn't that just so stupid? In some mysterious way, that's the thing going on behind the thing. That's why when Maximus the Confessor working their way through what was that Jesus thing, and they come to him, and he insists that in order for Jesus to be created, the creation had to be good. Good, good, good. The embodiedness, the material world, the stuff that God made, it had to be good through and truly. And he insists on that. It's what C.S. Lewis calls the deeper mystery. It's why in the Corinthian letters, Paul says, if they had understood what was going on, they would not have killed the King of Glory. Because in some mysterious way that beats us all, the proof of love, the ultimate proof of love as the highest thing, as the thing at the core of all that exists, as the thing that remains, because it's at the core of all that exists, and it is the heartbeat from the cosmos that keeps it all going. The proof of that is that it was known before the creation of the world that the Christ would suffer and die. Unsortable mystery. It was inherent to the whole thing. And the Satan hates the idea that a human being who was truly created, uncreated, but the human bit born of a woman. So Paul picks this up in Galatians 4, verse 4. When the time was right, God sent his son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those under the law. And Paul's insisting that that is part of who Jesus is. He's fully human. He has fully entered. So, this Mother's Day, why is it such a huge offense to the pure spirit being Satan that God would allow himself to be born of a woman and to suffer wounds? It's all that tenderness of a mother. It's all that dependency of an infant. It's all that gentle care. It's all that sacrificial love. I want to say, friends, we need a moment. We need a moment of a little pastoral aside. A woman, strong as Mary was, an ideal disciple is how she's presented, yet tender, sacrificial, loving, and holy is something that in our society is oftentimes also not understood. Two great articles in the Atlantic the past week about the trial that's in the headlines. I'll just read you the poignant line from each one of them. It's his requirement, the defendant, that women look and behave a certain way, that we comply with his desires and submit to our required social function, that she mattered to him only as a vehicle to sex. The other one says, let's not miss the way that this is affecting a whole rising generation of young people. That we may have, the title of this one is 4 More Years of Unchecked Misogyny. If, as the literary critic Lionel Trilling wrote, ideology is not acquired by thought but by breathing the haunted air, then this situation has helped radicalize, and that person has helped radicalize swaths of a generation, essentially through poisonous fumes. I want to say I am glad, I know we all are, I am glad we have strong women at Trinity. I'm glad we have Mother Wendy. I'm glad we have soon-to-be Mother Jen. The Sunday before Jen's ordination to the priesthood, I'll be talking about why communities of faith need father and mother, why they need fathers and mothers both. We'll be talking about that a little bit. So Ascension Day is the day that this human, who even though fully God is also fully human, who even though born of a woman into the world in all the wetness and pain and all that is, that the Satan hates, even in the tenderness that's required, even with his wounds, that he has submitted in love willingly to be wounded. And even with the wounds which remain, which in his resurrection body he shows to his followers to say to them, look, it is me. It is me. See the wounds. That being would ascend and sit at the throne in heaven is a completion of pulling the human into the life of God again and taking our nature back to the place it was meant to be, fully in relationship with God. And it opens up then, it completes in that sense, the possibility, which is now assured and will be done, that God will make a whole new world put to rights. The Spirit, which we wait for now, which we'll celebrate next week, the Spirit is the gift to keep us going, to keep us in touch, to keep us connected as we go along and as we wait. The fact that God would suffer and bear those wounds forever is the ultimate testimony that he wins the contest of whether it's ridiculous to create in the first place. He bears the wounds to say, Dennis got it, say, it works. It works. It just needs love. It just needs truly self-giving, sacrificial love, and then it can work. So we've been walking in Psalm 23. We walked a little bit. We've been saying we need to walk in some things that Jesus gave us in order to be in touch with his resurrection hope. Because the resurrection hope, he knew he was going to the cross. He knew he would be raised. He trusted the Father. And so he taught us with the resurrection hope in mind. And he's giving us what we need to live that. So we were with the Our Father a bit. And then we said one of the sources of the Our Father is Psalm 23 that Jesus deeply identifies with. The Lord is my shepherd. That was him. I am the good shepherd. So we've been walking in those spaces, and today we want to wrap that up a little bit. We've said as we've walked in Psalm 23, we've said the way to read it and the way to understand how it, as poetry breaks down, is to follow the pronouns. I shall not be in want, because he who cares about me does these good things for me. And then we get a transition, and we come back, even if I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for now this time more intimate because bigger struggles, you are with me. Your rod and your staff, the rod protects, the staff guides, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. So, follow the pronouns. And then it transitions back and says, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of the life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. God's incredible, immeasurable generosity that creating in love, creating in joy, creating knowing all along that it would only work if he took the pain on himself and turned the lock himself, and doing that and bearing those wounds forever. Our cups, friends, our cups overflow into life forever. So, when I used to believe that eternity was disembodied, right? I'll be honest here, sometimes that was easier. Anybody else feel that way? Right? The actual Christian hope is new heaven, new earth, new bodies, resurrection, whole world put to rights. In some ways, it's easier to believe in a disembodied heaven. There's a whole lot of things you don't have to sort out, right? How on earth does this ever get sorted? You don't have to sort these things. You just sort of like, I don't know, it's just a magic button at the end. Push the button, poof, and there it is, right? What do I do? What do you do? What do I do when I look at my own pain? I look at my own limits and struggles. I look at my own sins and things I get wrong. I look at the world around me, whether it's, small stuff, people I know, or whether it's big stuff, and whether it's huge stuff, whether it's climate and the environment and the future. Whenever I look at that and I struggle to imagine, believe, hold on to resurrection hope, and to live forward in that hope, what do? I go to the Lord's Prayer. I go to Psalm 23. I go to prayer. I get alone and I get with the Lord and I get in prayer. There's a wonderful line in one of the old versions of the Psalms, older English. It says, I got me to my Lord right humbly. That's good. That's good. Keep that one. I got me to my Lord right humbly. Get in that space. Get on your knees. One of the other things that I do is I sit around and I just start to think about, notice the incredible wonder of all that already is. The incredible wonder of all that already is. The people who say, well, it's just solid state, it's always been here, I'm like, I'm sorry, that's just punning. That's just cheating. You're just acting like there's nothing to sort. That just doesn't work. That's not an answer. You're just saying, I don't know. So I look at the wonder of all that already is. From the microscopic and the subatomic, quantum field theory, I don't understand it, but wow, I love it. I mean, I piddle with it just because it's fun. But I don't understand. I'm not sure anyone understands it, although I am quite confident, and it's obvious there are many people who understand it more than I do, but I'm not sure if anybody completely understands it. But I mean, quarks and gluons, and it's like the longer we go, the tinier we realize little bits of reality are, which is all a bit wild because, none of them are visible to the eye, but still, there they are. There's vast amounts of energy. There's vast amounts of activity. You look at the subatomic, you look at the cosmic, the James Webb telescope. So now we're able to send telescopes out on satellites to look further even, and you do the math on how many light years away they are, which means that, the images are looking at something that was that long ago, and it's really fun to stop and think, gosh, I don't know what colleges out there won national championships between when that photo started and now, right? That's how I keep the years. And it's like, it's so big, galaxy upon galaxy upon galaxy. And there it is, right? I look at the degree of life and relationship that we are learning exists between not only the human, but the human and other stuff too. Trees, The Secret Life of Trees, right? Many of you read that, I'm sure. Elephants. Elephants have incredible social reality, social network, social community. I love elephants, by the way. When I've been in Africa, love elephants. I have a dog, I kid you not. I have a dog we have a little dog loft thing, we can sit with the dogs, and he will come and then he will sit and he will look out the window at the sunset. And he will look at us and he will say, put your screen down. It's his eyes. I'm not kidding. Come sit with me and watch the sunset. He wants to commune with us. There's more life than we have realized. And I look at the wonder, the depth of all that is, and I realize the God who can do that can do this. And the God who can bring that into being and give it a lot of agency, give it evolution, give it agency, let it develop, who can walk in all of that. The wildness of quantum field theory. Last thing, sorry, I'll give you this one. Read an article from my classes last semester about quantum field theory, and it almost made me Catholic because they protested so much against the Catholics. I was almost like, you must be afraid of them. You protest too much. And they were determined that quantum field theory proves that the Messiah cannot be a person who lived once in history. And I'm like, hey, maybe it proves the opposite. if things can be in different places at different times, and if they can sort of go back and change the past too, wouldn't that be like more fun to consider that the other way around? Isn't that a more inviting question the other way around? What does this tell us about what it could be to be the Messiah, always the same, yesterday, today, and forever? I don't know, and I'm not going to figure it out or even get close, but fascinating. That'd be fun. Someone should do that. What it says is, the reality is simply that God is much larger, greater, alive, and delighting in beauty and wonder and life and energy and goodness and love than we have ever known. He's also, while being so large, simultaneously with you. Even if I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemy. And that one who said, I am the living shepherd of this psalm, that one who has wounds on his body, is the completion of what is needed, and he's on the throne. So I want to say the Dutch are onto something. I want to say going out barefoot, dancing, singing, walking on the soft morning dew. I want to say they're on to something. So I was actually not surprised to find out that scientists have discovered that a common microscopic bacteria found naturally in soil can improve mental health, and that the feet are a way that these little kinds of things get into our system. So yeah, they didn't have to know it, they knew it. They didn't have to figure it out, they'd experienced it. It feels like what it points to. New life, happy, whole, new life that lasts forever. Let's pray, friends. I just invite you, this being the last Sunday of Eastertide, just invite you to spend a little time with the icon we've been walking with, and just let Jesus speak to you from the throne in his tenderness, in his createdness, and pull your soul forward towards the life that will be.